Okay, so welcome to the video. This is going to be the first video in the series of learning C. I will continue this as well as continue the Python series. So yeah, the first thing we need for the setup is going to be Code Blocks. So Code Blocks is basically an app that's going to allow you to code C. It's an IDE. So it's gonna look like this. Code Blocks. So the first thing, we need to get that installed. And then the second thing we're gonna do, well, it's not really a thing. It comes with Code Blocks. Is we're gonna do the compiler. The compiler is very simple. You just have to select what compiler it is, and yeah. So a compiler is basically a program that turns C code into a type of thing that your computer can read. So your computer can't read C code, but it can read what the compiler turns the C code into. So that's the compiler is. Other languages, such as Python, have something similar to a compiler. It's called an interpreter. An interpreter basically goes into the file and interprets the lines of code into, let's say, something that it can run. So, yeah, that's basically what I'm going to do today. I'm going to look at some very simple code. It's going to be mostly set up. So, if you go into Google and search code blocks, go to codeblocks.org. It's taking a long time. Blocks. To go into codeblocks.org, then look like this. Go to downloads, download the binary release. Scroll down, Windows. In this case, I'm on Windows. So, what you want to do is download CodeBlocks maingw setup.exe. CodeBlocks maingw setup.exe. If you just do the setup.exe, then you're not going to get the compiler and everything. So you go to maingw setup.exe here, and then you go to sourceforge.net or FossHub. Just do that, and then your download will start shortly. In this case, I'm already downloaded it, so I've already downloaded it, so I don't need to download it again. Once you've finished installing, just leave all the things default, and when it comes to the last page and it asks you for the compiler, select the GNU C compiler, which is what we're going to use. So, once you have finished installing, go into here and search code blocks. Open code blocks. So, we'll probably have to just create a new project, get started, and we'll talk about some new code. This is code blocks. I'm going to click on create a new project. In this case, we're going to need a console application. There's also others like Arduino, OpenGL, SDL projects. These are probably like the most OpenCV. These are probably like the useful ones that are commonly used. MC project. In this case, we're going to use a console application. Click on console application, go. Next. Select C. Next. Project type. Okay. Next. And then right here, GNU C compiler. GCD decompiler. Now we're going to need the GNU C compiler. GNU C compiler. There. Just leave all these as like default. Click finish, and it will open up your project. Gonna go over here, sources. You see you have your main.c file. This is where you will be writing your code. Okay, let's see this. Right here, we have 2 lines of code that says include Studio H, STDIOH, not Studio, I keep calling it that. Include stdlibh. STDIO stands for standard input, and this is standard libraries. So, these two, what include means is basically, you don't have to worry about that right now. I'll talk about that in a later lesson. So down here, we have this function called main. And inside the function, we have these lines of code. And you will be writing your code inside this main function. Otherwise, it's not going to get executed, because when the program comes, it looks inside this main function and runs with it. And this function has to be specifically called main, otherwise it's not going to run it. Only something like functions or these statements can be included outside of main. Like functions, other functions and stuff. So, right here, we have printf. Printf basically prints a string to the console. Right here, hello world, and then this \n just means a new line. And basically, every line has to end with a semicolon, except for like these and the include lines. So this is how it works. If you go up here, you'll find 3 buttons that says build, run, and build and run. Build is basically compiling the program. So you're going to tell the compiler to make this program into a file that the machine can interpret. Like, the machine can just run. So, let me build that. And then, if there's no errors here, then we can run it. Right here, we see hello world getting successfully print onto the screen. But like in a lot of cases, you'll want to just use the build and run. So it just builds your program and immediately runs it, which is very handy. So, let's print hello, this C code is working. What? That is the so printf statements. Yeah, that's probably gonna be it for this video. We're just gonna get started on some variables and maybe some other stuff in the next video. So yeah, stick around.